In this video, we're going to learn all about lists. Now, lists can contain just about anything you would like. For instance, it can store numbers, it can store strings, it can store just about really anything you want to store. And I mean literally anything can be stored within a list. So for instance, we can store a list of numbers. So A equals, let's go, 4, 7, 3, 5, 2. Now, some important things, a list, in order to create a list, you say A equals, and you have to store those values within brackets. So you have an open bracket and a closed bracket, and then each item of that list has to be separated by commas. So if I just press enter and then I type in A, you can see that it returns to me this list of 4, 3, 5, and 2. Now you can store anything. You can actually store a string within this list. So let me take B for instance, and I'm going to equal it to, let's say, so I have strings, and of course strings, you have to have apostrophes on either end, or you can have quotations on either end. So now if I press enter, and I type in B, it's going to return to me this list, and it contains strings and numbers. So it doesn't have to be the same type stored within each item of this list. Now, lists have some built-in functions, or just operators. Like, for instance, if I were to take A, which just for your recollection, it's 4, 3, 5, and 2. If I were to say A times 2, you might think that it would multiply each item by 2, but that's not the way lists work. If I do A times 2, it's going to repeat A twice and just add it on at the end. And if I did A times 3, then it's going to do it 3 times. Now I didn't reassign the value of A, so that's why it took that original A and it multiplied that list 3 times. You can also append to, or you can combine to a list together. So I can A plus B, and I press enter. And so what it did is it took B that you can see up above, and it added onto the end of A. Okay, so let me just type in A again so you can recall what it looks like. The list has many functions built within inside of it. So for instance, I can do a.extend B. I type in that. Now if I type in A, you can see that it added all the items of B onto the end of A. Now, whenever you use the functions of the list, like that modify the list, it will modify the original list. So it's not like I have to do A equals A dot extend. I don't have to do that because it's automatically going to modify the original. Okay, so let's we can do an append. So A dot append. What this is going to do, it's going to add something to the end. So if I A dot append and I type in 4, press enter. Now if I type in A, you can see that it had added the 4 onto the end of the list. And if I can do that again, append 5, just so you can see it again, and see it added a 5 onto the end of it. Okay. Now we can do A. We can also insert something into this list. So I type in A.insert. Insert is going to take 2 arguments, or it's going to take 2 inputs. The first input is the position. So I'm going to put it position 1. Now keep in mind that indexing in Python starts at 0, and so 1 will actually be after the number 4 in this list. So it's going to be in the second position. So I do 1, hello. So now it's going to insert hello at position 1. So you can see that hello is inserted between the 4 and the 3. Okay, now let's do, let me show you another function, a.clear. That's going to clear that list for me. Okay. And then the next one is, let's reassign it. So a equals 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's copy this a. So now I'm going to create a c equals a dot copy. Okay. That's just going to copy. Actually, sorry. C equals a dot copy, and you're just going to do a close parentheses. So now you can see that C and A are now equal. Now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to use the pop function. So pop, what it is going to basically, it's kind of crazy. It's going to pop the last number off of that list, and you can add it to a variable. So let's do E equals a dot pop, close parentheses. So what this is going to do is it's going to take the 4 off of the end of A, and it's going to add it to E. So A looks, now if you look at A now has 1, 2, 3, it's missing the 4, and E now is the value of 4. So that's actually a useful function. Let me create a new variable. Let's go D equals 5, 6, 3, 4. Okay. So we gotta remember to do parentheses, or remember to separate the numbers by, or the items by commas. Okay. So now there's another function called d count. So count, and then the number that you'd like to count. So here I want to count the number of times 3 has occurred. And it's going to say 2, because there's 2 times that there were 3 that occurred. Okay, the next thing is sort, d.sort. So before it was D was 5, 6, 3, 3, 4. So now it's 3, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it sorts it in ascending order. You can also reverse that. So d.reverse. Okay, so now you can see that it's in descending order. So there are many different functions there, and you can actually see all the functions. If I type in the list, period, and then tab, you can see all of the functions that are available. So you have the append, clear, copy, count, extend, index, insert, pop, remove, reverse, and then sort. So I covered all of those. Now, these functions, I would play around with them, get used to them, because all of these are useful, and you may not remember when to use them exactly all the time, but I guarantee you're going to want to use them. And the reason why is because lists are an amazing container to store items, and you will find a lot of use for these things.